let's see. So the idea of encoding, you transfer internal thoughts into a language to encode. And we have a choices of words, gestures, other symbols for encoding depending on the nature of the message. Technical, non-technical, emotional, factual, virtual, culturally diverse can create encoding challenges. So remember in encoding, you have a message in your mind and you want, let's say you're a manager and you want to tell your employees you have to be on time, right? Now, how do you tell your employees be on time? You know, some cultures will say, you go, you call them in a meeting and you say, hey, be on time. That's one message, right? You encoded it this way. Some other managers, they may encode it other ways. They will deduct at the end of the month salary because you came in late. That's another encoding, right? And some other managers, they will stand up in the door. When you walk in, they do this. You know, that's another way to encode it. So it's a culture, depending on the culture you're in, right? Selecting a medium, face-to-face conversation, that's type of medium. Phones, emails, memos, letters, computer reports, photographs, advertising, press conferences, news releases, organizational publications, meetings, and bulletin boards. You guys are okay with these media? Bulletin boards is like the bulletin boards you see there. If you go on the floor, each floor we have a bulletin board, some big board, and there are things sticking on it. Keeps updating with what's going on. Moving between low and high context cultures can create appropriate media selection problems. In low context cultures, the verbal content of the message is more important than the media through which it is delivered. In a high context culture, the context settings in which the message is delivered is more important than the literal words of the message. Do you guys understand low context and high context cultures? In a high context culture like Yemen and Japan, those people, they really care about the medium. You see, how you say it and where you say it will mean a lot. In some of the low context cultures, let's say the Germany, the Dutch, or the Americans, they don't really care about the media as much as the actual message. Contingency approach, the legal and depth. It says media richness, legal and depth. It says here media richness is a given media capacity to convey information and promoting learning. Characteristics of a media or of a rich media is it provides simultaneous multiple information cues, facilitating immediate feedback, and having a personal focus. Do you guys think we're now in a rich media? Yeah, because we're face to face, right? If you have a question, you can ask me, you can stop me, you can, I can get cues when I talk and I see people doing it like this. I understand they didn't get it. If I tell you something and you understand, I can see it in your faces. So that's a very rich media, face to face, right? Now, of course, if I see someone like this, they're like chatting with someone else on their mobile phone, I can immediately stop them, and then they can, get them back to the communication, right? But if we are in a very lean or a medium communication or low richness, we can convey limited information, few cues, and we provide no immediate feedback. So, and maybe impersonal in nature. Maybe if you see me now on YouTube, you have the ability. I don't have that rich information, right? It's not a rich media. If you watch a YouTube, someone is talking there, you understand. Okay, you don't. They don't know, right? You have to send them and then after they read the comments, they may get back to you after a long time. So that media is not very rich. If we do a Skype, maybe it's richer, right? Because at least you see someone on real time, so you can get immediate feedback. Maybe you will not see them if they are, chatting on their mobile phone, or they are actually looking at some game while you're talking to them, because you're not there to see them. But it is maybe better than just a YouTube video that you watch. Are you guys okay with this? Are you sure? See, now I make sure I get the feedback, so I get the communication through. Let's see, the Lingle Daft contingency model says this is a spectrum. This is low media richness. This is high media richness. And we've got this impersonal, static media, flyers, bulletin, generalized computer reports, and general email. So this is high or low? Low. This is high, which is face-to-face. And in the middle, we have this interactive media. That's when we do a Skype call. Here is when we do a memo or a letter. I send you an email. Email is not very rich. But maybe if I send you an email to your email, better than if I just make a post on the bulletin board, right? If I send you an email saying your exam is tomorrow, is more interactive than if I put a note on the board saying the exam is tomorrow. So are you guys okay with this low to high? All right.
The efficacy of the strength or what?
The measure here is the richness. So this is low rich, very high rich.
How to reach?
Rich is a lot of information going back and forth, a lot of cues, immediate feedback. This is low richness, it's not very rich. There is no immediate feedback. There is no lots of information. We can't, did you get the richness?
The degree of thinking?
The degree of communication process effectiveness. How much information is going back and forth, and how effective it is the message to get through. Do you see?
Regardless the quality of this way.
We call this the media richness. This is based on the model for lingual and depth. And what does this model says? Let's go to the previous slide. It says the rich media, it provides a lot of simultaneous multiple information cues. So now when I talk to you, you can get a cue, my voice. You can also get a cue, the words I say. You can also, the speed of my talk. You can also get other people feedback. So that's a simultaneous feedback. The body language also, you see. Facilitating immediate feedback. Did you get it? You tell me yes, now I continue to the next point. If you tell me no, I can go back to the previous slide. You see, that makes it a rich media. And we also have a personal focus. I'm only focusing on you. You see, this way I make sure the message comes from me to you, and I'm sure it got it. So if I'm a manager and I want to talk to people, maybe I want to check which media richness method. Do you see? Do I need to talk to the employee face to face? Or I can just make it on a bulletin board. Which one? Which one is better? How many people say face to face is always better? How many people say no? Face to face is very expensive and you can use these other more efficient tools such as a bulletin board or an SMS that you talk to people. Yeah, so let's see, this is the model here. Here, media selection framework. So which one do we select? High or rich? Let's see. This is media richness. This is high and this is low. So here on the top we have high and here on the low we have low media richness. Now, on the top, there are some cases if you use high media richness, it will be failure. And there are some other cases where it will be effective. How do you know? Let's look at the columns. If the message is routine, don't use high media richness. Use low media richness. And if the message is non-routine, you need to use high media richness and don't use low media richness because it will fail. Why and how? Let's look at this. If I have a message non-routine, do you know what's a non-routine message? Yeah, if I tell you you're fired, that's not routine, right? You're promoted, that's also not routine, right? A routine message will be, we have our Thursday meeting at 8. Every Thursday we have a meeting at 8. It's a routine message. If I call you and say, hey, we have a meeting at 8 o'clock of this Thursday, face to face, what's going to happen? Yeah, we'll call this data glut. There is rich media used for a routine message. Excess cues. It will cause confusion. It's too much information. There will be a surplus of information. Do you see? On the other hand, if I call you and I say, hey, you're fired, then this will be effective communication. Because communication success, because rich media matches the non-routine message. You're fired because 1, 2, 3, and we have to do it face to face. Imagine if you wake up in the morning and you get an SMS, you're fired. What happens? There's a data starvation. You wouldn't believe. You will immediately call them. What's wrong and what's going on and what did I do wrong? And The lean media used for non-routine messages. There's too few cues to capture the message. Okay, it must be kidding. It's impossible. You see, because that's a failure if it's a non-routine and you try to use some low media richness. But here, the low media richness is effective if communication success because richness media matches the routine message. So if you receive a message, SMS saying, our meeting is Thursday at 8 o'clock, that's normal. You're good. Communication is effective. Just a confirmation that the meeting is as usual at 8. Are you guys okay with this media richness? All right, great.